This video is about dividing polynomials. Before we get into some of the examples, let's go over some vocabulary. So a divisor is the number or term that you are dividing by. A quotient is the answer obtained when dividing, just like product is the answer you get from multiplication. And then dividend is the number or term that is being divided. So these are straight definitions. If you're more of a visual learner, you could draw in any of these. These are just your vocabulary words here, written in a division symbol. Here are with some examples. If I'm doing 24 divided by 4, 24 is the dividend, 4 is the divisor, and 6 would be my quotient. A factor is something that divides into a polynomial or number evenly with no remainder. And a remainder is the number or term left over when you are dividing. So recall how to divide polynomials or monomials first before we get into polynomials. You're going to divide your coefficients. So 4 divided by 2 gives me 2. And then with your exponents, you're going to subtract them. So 3 minus 1 gives me x squared. So we're dividing coefficients, we're subtracting exponents. Let's take a look at our first example. 2x cubed plus 15x squared plus 27x plus 5 divided by 2x plus 5. So we're going to divide today with the tabular method. This is my divisor, and my divisor is always going to go on the right side of the box method. And you're going to set up the box method the same way that you did for multiplying. Your answer up here is where we used to put something for multiplying, but in division, this is where you're going to find your answer, which remember is also called our quotient. Your top number or your dividend is going to go on your diagonals of the box, which you can see I have everything labeled on mine already. So take a minute and label yours as well. When you are dividing with the box method, you're always going to start in the top left corner, always. 2x cubed divided by 2x is going to be where we start. But remember that in multiplying, your diagonals were always your like terms, and I would combine my diagonals. So I'm just going to show you that for right now, because that's going to be important. So in the top left, the reason we start there is because there's nothing to combine. So this has to be a 2x cubed. And it's kind of like working backwards, or like a puzzle, if you want to think of it like that. 2x cubed divided by 2x gives me x squared. Or what times 2x gives me 2x cubed. You can think of it either way. Once you get a top piece, you're going to multiply. X squared times 2x is 2x cubed. I already have that. Now I'm going to do x squared times 5. I get 5x squared. My diagonal needs to total to 15x squared. So what needs to go up here so that way I total to 15x squared on the diagonal? Hopefully you'll realize you need 10x squared. So now I'm going to divide. 10x squared divided by 2x should give me a positive 5x. Or what times 2x gives me 10x squared? Once you have a top piece, you're going to multiply. 5x times 2x, 10x squared, 5x times 5, 25x. So now on my diagonal, I have to add to 27x. So what plus 25 gives me 27? You should realize it's a 2x. So what has to go up top? It should be a positive 1. 1 times 2x is 2x. 1 times 5 is 5. My diagonal is 5. I have no remainder. So I have x squared plus 5x plus 1 as my answer, and it is a factor. So for the number of rows and number of columns, this is there on your worksheet. The number of rows is one more than the largest exponent in the divisor. Remember that you need a row for each term in your divisor. The number of columns is one more than the difference of the largest exponents between the dividend and the divisor. It might be easier for you to set up your diagonals first and your columns second, but you'll get more practice with that the more we do. So let's take a look at example 2. Remember, this is my divisor. It goes on the right side, x minus 2. My top is my dividend, and that's going to go on my diagonals. So I have 2x squared for my first diagonal, a positive 1x for my second one, and a negative 10. We're always going to start in the top left box because this has to match. So what times x gave me 2x squared? Hopefully you should realize it's a 2x. Once you get a top piece, you multiply. 2x times x is 2x squared. 2x times negative 2 is a negative 4x. This diagonal has to add to give me a positive 1. So what plus negative 4, or what minus 4, gives me a 1? This should be a 5x. Up at the top, I have to have a positive 5. 5 times x is 5x. 5 times negative 2, negative 10. It matches my diagonal. So 2x plus 5 is my answer here. And then there's a follow-up. Is x minus 2 a factor? So that means divides evenly with no remainder. So is it a factor? Your answer should say yes, because there is no remainder. Because when I solved it, my diagonals matched up at the end, and that's not always going to be true. But for right now, it is. Yes, because there is no remainder. So remember, when you are dividing with a tabular method, your divisor goes on the right-hand side. You need a row for each term. Your dividend, or what's in the numerator of the division problem, goes on your diagonals, and it's working backwards. We always start in the top left corner. Whenever you figure out a top piece, you're going to multiply straight down, then you work with your diagonals, you get another top piece, and you continue the process over and over and over again.